Uma Karuna Thurman is an American actress and model. She has performed in a variety of films, ranging from romantic comedies and dramas to science fiction and action movies. Following her appearances on the December 1985 and May 1986 covers of British Vogue, Thurman starred in Dangerous Liaisons. She rose to international prominence with her performance in Quentin Tarantino's 1994 film Pulp Fiction, for which she was nominated for the Academy Award, the BAFTA Award, and the Golden Globe Award for Best Supporting Actress. Often hailed as Tarantino's muse, she reunited with the director to play the main role in Kill Bill, Volume 1 and 2, which brought her 2 additional Golden Globe Award nominations.
Established as a leading Hollywood actress, her other notable films include Henry and June, The Truth About Cats and Dogs, Batman and Robin, Gattaca, Les Miserables, The Producers, My Super Ex-Girlfriend, and Lars von Trier's Nymphomaniac and The House That Jack Built. In 2011, Thurman was a member of the jury for the main competition at the 64th Cannes Film Festival, and in 2017, she was named president of the 70th edition's Uncertain Regard jury. Thurman made her Broadway debut in The Parisian Woman.
For her performance in the made-for-HBO film Hysterical Blindness, Thurman won the Golden Globe Award for Best Actress in a Television Film, and for her 5-episode role in the NBC musical series Smash, she received a Primetime Emmy Award nomination for Outstanding Guest Actress in a Drama Series. Thurman has starred in the miniseries The Slap and the series Imposters.
Thurman was born in Boston, Massachusetts. Her father, Robert Thurman, is a professor of Indo-Tibetan Buddhist studies and an author, who lived as an ordained Buddhist monk for 3 years. Her mother, Nina von Schlebrug, a high-fashion model, was born in Mexico City, to German and Swedish parents. Nina was discovered in Stockholm, and moved to New York City at the age of 17 to join the Ford modeling agency. Thurman received a Buddhist upbringing, and spent altogether around 2 years in the Indo-Himalayan town of Elmora. She grew up mostly in Amherst, Massachusetts, where she went to Amherst Regional Junior High School, then moved to Woodstock, New York. She has 3 brothers, Gonden, Dekhen Karl, and Mipum, and a half-sister named Taya, from her father's previous marriage. Thurman's first cousin once removed is Swedish football player Max von Schlebrug.
She is described as having been an awkward and introverted girl who was teased for her appearance and unusual name. When Thurman was 10 years old, a friend's mother suggested a nose job. As a child, she suffered bouts of body dysmorphic disorder. She attended Amherst public schools. In the 8th grade, she discovered her love for acting. Talent scouts noticed her performance as Abigail in a production of The Crucible and offered her the chance to act professionally. Thurman attended Northfield Mount Hermon School, a preparatory school in Massachusetts, before dropping out to pursue a career in acting.
Thurman began her career as a fashion model at age 15, and signed with the agency Click Models. Her early modeling credits included Glamour and the December 1985 and May 1986 covers of British Vogue. She made the transition to acting with her film debut, the teen thriller Kiss Daddy Goodnight, which was released in 1987. Thurman was subsequently cast in 3 1988 films, Johnny Be Good, The Adventures of Baron Munchausen, and most notably, Dangerous Liaisons. In the comedy Johnny Be Good, she played the girlfriend of a top high school quarterback prospect, and in The Adventures of Baron Munchausen, she made a brief appearance as the goddess Venus. During her entrance she briefly appears nude, in an homage to Botticelli's The Birth of Venus. In the Oscar-winning drama Dangerous Liaisons, co-starring Glenn Close and John Malkovich, Thurman took on the role of a naive young woman seduced by a manipulative man. The picture was an art house success, and garnered Thurman recognition from critics and audiences. Film critic Roger Ebert found her to be well cast in her tricky key role. At the time, insecure about her appearance, she spent roughly a year in London, during which she often wore loose, baggy clothing. Malkovich said of her, "There is nothing twitchy teenagerish about her. I haven't met anyone like her at that age. Her intelligence and poise stand out. But there's something else. She's more than a little haunted."
In 1990, Thurman appeared with Fred Ward and Maria de Medeiros in Henry and June, a sexually provocative drama about the relationship and affairs between writer Henry Miller and his wife June Miller in 1931 Paris. This film was the first to receive an NC-17 rating, and partly because many American newspapers refused to advertise films with the new rating, it did not get wide release in the United States. However, it won Thurman good notices. The New York Times wrote, "Thurman, as the Brooklyn-accented June, takes a larger-than-life character and makes her even bigger, though the performance is often as curious as it is commanding." After playing Maid Marian in the 1991 British adventure film Robin Hood, Thurman starred as the patient of a San Francisco psychiatrist in the neo-noir drama Final Analysis, opposite Richard Gere and Kim Basinger, and as a blind woman romantically involved with a former policeman in the thriller Jennifer 8, with Andy Garcia.
Thurman portrayed a young woman with unusually big thumbs in Gus Van Sant's 1993 adaptation of Tom Robbins' novel Even Cowgirls Get the Blues. The film was a critical and commercial failure, eventually earning Thurman a Golden Raspberry Award nomination for Worst Actress. The Washington Post described her acting as shallow and remarked, "Thurman's strangely passive characterization doesn't go much deeper than drawing and flexing her prosthetic thumbs." Also in 1993, she starred as a waitress opposite Robert De Niro and Bill Murray in the drama Mad Dog and Glory, and auditioned for Stanley Kubrick while he was casting for his eventually unrealized adaptation of the novel Wartime Lies.
In Quentin Tarantino's neo-noir black comedy Pulp Fiction, Thurman portrayed Mia Wallace, the wife of a Los Angeles mobster. Several actresses were considered for the role, but Tarantino wanted Thurman after their first meeting. The film grossed $213.9 million worldwide and received widespread acclaim, appearing on many critics' lists of the greatest films ever made. She dominated most of the movie's promotional material. Mia is considered one of the most iconic female film characters of the 1990s. The Washington Post asserted that Thurman was serenely unrecognizable in a black wig, is marvelous as a zoned-out gangster's girlfriend. For her performance, Thurman was nominated for the Golden Globe and the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress and launched into the celebrity A-list. She took little advantage of her newfound fame by choosing not to do any big-budget films for the next 3 years. During an interview with Time magazine in 2003, Tarantino, who considers Thurman his muse, remarked that she was up there with Garbo and Dietrich in goddess territory.
Thurman's next films, the romantic dramedy Beautiful Girls, in which she played a fairly wise love interest, and the comedy The Truth About Cats and Dogs, in which she starred as a ditzy blonde model, were modest commercial successes amid a positive critical response upon their theatrical releases in 1996. In 1997, she starred opposite Ethan Hawke in Gattaca, a science fiction film set in a future society driven by eugenics where potential children are conceived through genetic manipulation. The film received critical praise and became successful on the home video market, despite lackluster box office receipts. The Los Angeles Times, however, wrote that Thurman was as emotionally uninvolved as ever.
Her next film role was that of supervillain Poison Ivy in Batman and Robin. Budgeted at over $125 million, the film grossed a modest $238 million internationally and is often considered one of the worst films of all time. Thurman's performance, however, was largely highlighted upon the film's premiere. The Houston Chronicle remarked that Thurman sometimes seems to be doing Mae West by way of Jessica Rabbit, and a similar comparison was made by the New York Times. Like Mae West, she mixes true femininity with the winking womanliness of a drag queen. She obtained a Blockbuster Entertainment Award for Best Sci-Fi Actress and was also nominated for Favorite Movie Actress at the Kids' Choice Awards. In 1998, she starred as a British secret agent in The Avengers, another financial and critical flop. CNN described her as so distanced you feel like you're watching her through the wrong end of a telescope.
Thurman took on the role of Fantine in Les Miserables, the 1998 film version of Victor Hugo's novel of the same name, directed by Billy August. The film was considered an intelligent, handsomely crafted adaptation of the classic novel, according to Rotten Tomatoes. and on his review of the film, Roger Ebert expressed that Thurman's performance is the best element of the story. In 1999, she performed in theater in an update of Molière's The Misanthrope at the Classic Stage Company, and portrayed a socialite in Woody Allen's romantic dramedy Sweet and Low Down, opposite Sean Penn. Thurman was in a hiatus from acting at the time as she had her daughter in 1998, doing only a few small, low-budget projects after giving birth. She eventually turned down the role of Eowyn in Peter Jackson's The Lord of the Rings film trilogy, which she considers one of the worst decisions ever made.
Thurman headlined the period drama The Golden Bowl, based on the 1904 novel of the same name by Henry James. In November 2000, she narrated the John Moran opera Book of the Dead at the Public Theatre. The historical drama Vattel saw Thurman play Anne de Montazier, the love interest of 17th-century French chef François Vattel, and in Richard Linklater's real-time drama Tape, she starred as the former girlfriend of a drug dealer and volunteer firefighter. She was nominated for the Independent Spirit Award for Best Supporting Female for her part in Tape. Hawke directed her in Chelsea Walls, a drama revolving a number of artists as they spend a single day in New York's famed bohemian home Chelsea Hotel.
Thurman would win a Golden Globe for her acting in HBO cable movie Hysterical Blindness, where she was also one of the executive producers. Thurman played a New Jersey woman in the 1980s searching for romance. In its review, the San Francisco Chronicle remarked, "Thurman so commits herself to the role, eyes blazing and body akimbo, that you start to believe that such a creature could exist, an exquisite-looking woman so spastic and needy that she repulses regular Joes." Thurman has bent the role to her will.
Thurman reunited with Quentin Tarantino for the two-part martial arts action film Kill Bill, portraying assassin Beatrix Kiddo, out for revenge against her former lover. Tarantino wrote the part specifically for her. He cited Thurman as his muse while writing the film, and gave her joint credit for the character, whom the two conceived on the set of Pulp Fiction from the sole image of a bride covered in blood. Thurman's main inspiration for the role was the title character of Coffee and the character of Gloria Swanson from Gloria. She said that both of them are two of the only women I've ever seen be truly women holding a weapon. Production was delayed for several months after Thurman became pregnant and Tarantino refused to recast the part. The film took 9 months to shoot, and was filmed in 5 different countries. The role was also her most demanding, and she spent 3 months training in martial arts, swordsmanship, and Japanese. Kill Bill was originally set to be released as one film, however, due to its long running time, it was ultimately released in 2 parts. Both volumes scored highly with critics and audiences, subsequently developing a cult following. Rolling Stone likened Thurman to an avenging angel out of a 1940s Hollywood melodrama. She was nominated for 2 Golden Globe for both entries, plus 3 MTV Movie Awards for Best Female Performance and 2 for Best Fight.
By the mid-2000s, Thurman had a reported asking price of $12.5 million per film. Besides the children's film The Naked Brothers Band, the movie, in which Thurman had a cameo, she had 3 other major film releases throughout 2005. Her first film in the year was the crime comedy Be Cool, the sequel to 1995's Get Shorty, which reunited her with her Pulp Fiction castmate John Travolta. Despite a lukewarm critical reception, the film grossed $95 million. She next starred in the romantic comedy Prime with Meryl Streep, playing a divorced and lonesome businesswoman who enters a relationship with a much younger man. A modest mainstream success, it eventually grossed $67.9 million internationally. In the remake The Producers, Thurman played Ola, a Swedish stage actress hoping to win a part in a new Broadway musical. The producers of the film originally planned to have another singer dub in her musical numbers, but Thurman was eager to do her own vocals. She is credited for her songs in the film. While box office receipts were modest, Thurman garnered acclaim from critics. Oh? Scott of the New York Times said, Uma Thurman as a would-be actress is the one bit of genuine radiance in this aggressively and pointlessly shiny, noisy spectacle.
In 2006, Thurman starred opposite Luke Wilson in My Super Ex-Girlfriend, playing a superhero who is dumped by her boyfriend and then takes her revenge upon him. She received $14 million for the role, but the film was panned by critics and made a modest $61 million worldwide. Entertainment Weekly felt that it was a miscalculation to make Thurman the antagonist. She does a sprightly satiric turn, but wasted in a movie that would rather tweak male paranoia than liberate a nerdette terrified of her powers. In the 2007 film A Life Before Her Eyes, Thurman starred as an accident survivor whose guilt causes her present-day life to fall apart. It received a limited theatrical release and was dismissed by critics as a confusing, painfully overwrought melodrama.
In 2008, Thurman starred with Colin Firth and Jeffrey Dean Morgan in The Accidental Husband, a romantic comedy where she played a woman who finds herself married while engaged to another man. Despite theatrical runs abroad, the film was released on DVD in North America due to financial problems with its distributor. She also took on the role of a cocaine addict in the British television drama My Zinc Bed, which garnered what was considered poor ratings, especially given her involvement.
In 2009's Motherhood, she starred as a New York City mother whose dilemmas of marriage, work, and self is shown in the trials and tribulations of one pivotal day. "I've never really played a realistic mom before," she said. Distributed for a limited release to certain parts of the United States only, the independent drama garnered just $93, $388 in 3 weeks of release. The New York Times critic O. Scott felt that Thurman's character is scattered, ambivalent, flaky and inconsistent, all of which is fine and energetically conveyed by Miss Thurman. But what are tolerable quirks in a person can be deadly to a narrative. The movie stumbles from loose and scruffy naturalism to sitcom tidiness. Thurman filmed a brief role in the fantasy adaptation Percy Jackson and the Olympians, The Lightning Thief, appearing as Medusa, a Gorgon cursed by Athena.
In 2011, she was a member of the jury for the main competition at the Cannes Film Festival, and her only film in the year, Ceremony, was released for VOD in selected theaters after its initial screening at the 2010 Toronto International Film Festival. In the independent comedy, she starred as woman on the eve of her wedding who reconnects with an old fling. By that time, she had taken on the roles of a powerful and wealthy mistress in the period drama Belle et Emile, a trophy wife in the romantic comedy Playing for Keeps, and that of Lois Lane in a segment of the anthology film movie 43. All films were panned by critics and flopped at the box office. Writing for the New York Daily News in her review for Ceremony, Elizabeth Weitzman noted, "She gets stuck in so many small, undeserving projects. One has to wonder who's mapping out her career."
Thurman ventured into television in 2012, when she joined the cast of the drama series Smash in its first season, portraying the 5-episode role of Rebecca Duvall, a Hollywood actress who wants to star in a new Broadway musical, despite having limited musical ability. Her performance garnered critical acclaim, with the AV Club writing, "Uma Thurman is a lot of fun. She gives that character some pop, playing both the shallow, demanding side of celebrity and the sincere, talented side." She earned a Primetime Emmy Award nomination for Outstanding Guest Actress in a Drama Series.
Thurman appeared in the Volume I of Lars von Trier's 2-part ensemble art drama Nymphomaniac as Mrs. H, a rejected wife who confronts her estranged husband. Despite her limited screen time in the film, Rolling Stone magazine remarked that she was sensational in a role that defies mixed feelings about female power, while Vanity Fair found her to be downright terrific, noting that she lends the character a good deal of dignity. For her part, she received a Bodil Award nomination for Best Supporting Actress, and in 2014, she won the Bambi Award for Best International Actress.
In 2015, Thurman starred on the NBC miniseries The Slap, the American adaptation of the Australian series of the same name about the fallout after a man slaps another couple's misbehaving child, and played a famed restaurant critic named Simone in the drama Burnt, starring Bradley Cooper. On its review for the 3rd episode of The Slap, TV Overmind wrote that the production was a reminder as to why this actress has gone so far in her career. In 2017, Thurman took on the recurring role of a fixer on the Bravo dark comedy series Imposters, which ran for 2 seasons, and was named president of Cannes Film Festival UN certain regard jury for works which offer unique perspective and aesthetic.
Thurman made her Broadway debut in The Parisian Woman, a play written by Beau Willimon. Set in Washington, D.C., the production saw her star as a socialite coming to terms with politics, her past, her marriage and an uncertain future. The play rang for 141 performances, including previews, between November 2017 and March 2018, garnering a mixed critical response and what was described as strong box office returns by Playbill. The New York Times remarked, "Unlike many actors whose expertise derives from movies, has no trouble fully inhabiting and projecting even a jury-rigged character like her intelligence and, it has to be said, her innate glamour, make it possible to care about someone you do not believe in." For her role, she won the Broadway.com Audience Award for Favorite Leading Actress in a Play.
The Con is On, an independent heist comedy Thurman filmed in 2015, opposite Tim Roth, was released on May 4, 2018. Both actors played a con artist couple planning a jewel heist in Los Angeles, after escaping from a notorious Russian gangster. She reunited with director Lars von Trier to play the first victim of a serial killer during the 1980s in his psychological horror film The House That Jack Built, which premiered on May 14, 2018, at the Cannes Film Festival. In her next film, the supernatural thriller Down a Dark Hall, directed by Rodrigo Cortés, whom portrayed the role of Madame Durrett, the eccentric headmistress of a mysterious school for troubled girls. In its review for the latter film, Variety noted that she cuts an elegant figure but a somewhat unconvincing villain could have used more notes of mystery and wit.
Thank you for watching. Please subscribe.